Good afternoon, everyone. These are some of the events around our planet heading into late autumn 2018. Good afternoon, everyone. Remember when Al Gore told us snow would be a thing of the past? Well, there's so much snow in Chamonix, France that they couldn't explain it. It was unexplainable, so what did they do? Just revise all the data downward, so they literally cut the snow totals in half. Let's take a look at what Carlos Ramirez sent me earlier. He brought it to my attention that World Weather Online has suddenly switched the snow totals in Chamonix. The horizontal red 100 centimeter mark lines, notice the difference on the left side. They decreased the amount of snow in this area. And they've also faked the trend line. And a glimpse into the Maunder minimum, you can see where temperatures dropped and more snow came. Alaska, North Slope oil production, Brooks Range, here are the oil leases. Scary headline, Arctic lakes are leaking dangerous greenhouse gases. Oh wait, those are from reservoirs of fossil fuels. How is that even a headline? Anyway, the Sydney Morning Herald deflecting from frost damage, record-breaking cold spell, Western Australia. Lowest ever recorded temperatures, frost damage, crop damage. Coldest morning in 50 years. And golf ball sized hail today in Sydney, blanket of snow. I guess they missed that. They're just worried about the Arctic methane, the new scary boogeyman. No geomagnetic storm. Yeah, we're getting this type of auroras. I think our magnetosphere's a little bit weak. And when NASA comes out publicly and says the current trend continues, space age record for cold, they're talking about the thermosphere, and I said, wait, that looks really familiar. Oh, these are the sunspot cycles since 1960 as well, matching perfectly with the warming and cooling in our upper atmosphere. And join me for Mini Ice Age Conversations tri-weekly podcast, more in-depth commentary about the intensification of the grand solar minimum. Al Gore said, I actually meant no sea ice by 2016. Seventh least amount of sea ice on record. How about those sea level rises? 140-year photos. Everything is cyclical. Pacific water temperatures. Now we have the total solar irradiance forecast out to 2030. Australia frost wipes out millions. Spain fruit affected. And Bobby with Ozpolitik keeping the mini ice age board alive. Let's look at the cold sweeping Australia and New Zealand. The Starman showing us 10.7 centimeter flux, lowest since 1962, trending downward as well. Global temperatures for September are out. Guess what? It's down yet again. Calgary, most snow this early in 61 years, and the wettest October 2nd on record. These records go back to 1884. Even Russian news outlets are covering the Canadian snowstorms, jumping in on their news feeds. Early snow killing thousands of hectares of grain, and farm business average net cash down. Cosmic ray density count out. Carlos Ramirez. Northeast U.S. minus 18 degrees Fahrenheit already for the low temps. Look at the temperatures to expect across the U.S. over the next week. Northern Africa expected to chill. Snows in Flagstaff, Arizona. Atmospheric compression event floods in Italy. And you thought your commute to work was difficult. And now we have a great potato crisis, even though potatoes were supposed to be the savior for all the wheat losses across our planet. With Hurricane Michael bearing down on the Florida Panhandle, barely discernible with all the cloud cover globally. Possible track of Michael and Leslie heading east towards Spain and the UK. Florida Panhandle landfalls, 1877, 1894, and 1995 in the month of October. They tell you hurricanes are so rare even in the north. Well, these are the storm tracks from 1866. And America's busiest hurricane season was recorded in 1886. In the decades prior, not even close. We're entering into the grand solar minimum with declines in solar activity. You would expect strange weather patterns globally like Liua, South Pacific's first cyclone, in September for 70 years. How about a smaller cycle, Wakala and Kongre, Category 5's first in 13 years. And if you want a deep dive into how the mechanics work, and it's definitely not CO2, check out Dr. Roy Spencer's book here, Inevitable Disaster: Why Hurricanes Can't Be Blamed on Global Warming. Forecasters were really correct on the path of the storm. Incredible images of the eye, both inside and above. Third strongest continental U.S. landfall hurricane by pressure. And if it's done this much damage coastal with the winds, what do you think it's doing to all the crops in Georgia, South Carolina, and up the eastern seaboard? Cotton doesn't stand a chance. But with all that, keep in mind, 1880s actually had more hurricanes than any of our decades prior. If you're looking for something to do about climate change, you can rigorously dismantle capitalism. New IPCC report, redistribution of at least 10% of annual capital revenues. Also talking about a $240 per gallon gasoline tax along with carbon taxes, all because of a fictitious warming of our planet. They're talking about 1.5 degrees Celsius rise. We're only at 0.14. That's 10 times lower than they talk about in the reports. Yet they never talk about China's coal usage, and they do demonize anybody who points these facts out.